Hey folks, this is Picohan from the North American server, and today we have another Colorado replay. We are on the map Trident, and it's the Epicenter game mode. Now, I like Trident as a map for the mid-tier American battleships. In the New York, New Mexico, Colorado, you're very slow, you have pretty good armor for your tier, and because you're so slow, you really want to stay central. This map, it's not that big, and especially with this game mode, it really enables you to stay close to the action, because there's islands inside the epicenter, as opposed to some of the high tier maps, like Tears of the Desert, where the islands are around the epicenter. It's a little bit weird with the spawns in this game mode. You'll see that the enemy ship had someone spawn within the perimeter of the epicenter, so they started ticking as soon as the game started, and we couldn't contest it until just a little bit later. So I'm trying to get to that big island EF45, and I want to hold out there and get close to the enemy, and we'll see where that goes. I'm trying to see if I can shoot at something at my max range. For the most part, you don't really expect anything out of these shots, but occasionally you can get like random citadels, and so you should take them if you can. Unless you are in a position such that it would be very risky for you to get spotted. But I've been playing detected on and off already. Just looking around, trying to see if there's anything close. This Colorado, ooh, let's take a shot. And he drops off. Following the shots, not very helpful. And here's a destroyer. Of course, you should always try to shoot at enemy destroyers if you can, especially since we are down a destroyer in this game, and that's a Benson. Just waiting for the cooldown, and we don't get the shot. Badioni is showing a full broadside, so we try to lead him and take the shot. Shoot down a plane. It's always nice. But all we get is an overpen on the Badioni. Taking a little bit of fire here, so just trying to zigzag a little bit as we continue to make our way down toward this island. This island's pretty big, so you don't need to be like right up against it. If you can keep it between you and the enemy ships, it's already pretty good. A lot of maps above this map, maybe like Neighbors or Land of Fire, they start having very small islands, and many of them instead of a couple large islands. I think it's harder to play around those. Looking for a cruiser to shoot at. None of these battleships seem to be giving a good angle. If you don't have a good angle on anything, you should try to shoot at cruisers because you can get those random citadels. And here there's this torp wall coming to me, and this is one of those cases where it's very hard sometimes to tell exactly where they're going to go, and I wish the game provided a better way to see that. I do manage to avoid them though, so that's good. Taking a shot at the same Colorado that I missed earlier. But here you can see our team has made it into the epicenter, and we've capped the middle, in fact. And even though we are currently down in points, you're going to see those points starting adding up real soon. Take a shot at this Scharnhorst between the cracks, because there's not really any good target. They've done a good job keeping themselves hidden despite not being in the epicenter itself.
All stations, concentrate fire on the target.
I was a little bit worried that there were battleships floating around in that smoke, which is why I turned away. But this New Orleans backing up is a really good target. And we take out the New Orleans. You can see the damage that we're taking from stuff floating around out of sight, and this is kind of why I wanted to pull out a little bit. There's also an enemy flank coming up on the east side, which I want to help fight off. It would be bad if they flanked us while we were all clustered up behind this island. And I'm just trying to take some shots at the stuff in the southwest as I move along. That was not so good over there. I'm not sure what that is that's still shooting at me, but I keep trying to zigzag because of it. The Atago is giving an okay broadside, so we'll take some shots at him. Except all we got was one overpen. Thank you, RNGesus. We lose in North Carolina. The Bismarck is almost dead though, so we're going to try to finish him off here. It looks like someone on our team is trying to and struggling, so I hope we can get him. Just trying to see if he's trying to back up or go forward. Looks like he's trying to back up. And he's gone. We'll call that a kill secure. No one else looked like they were going to get that guy. So now it's just the Atago over here. And you can see that we're a little bit out of position, so I definitely don't want to chase this guy. I'm going to take a couple shots here. He's actually trying to give a broadside, maybe. And then I'm going to try to start turning the ship around, because I want to get back over to that island now that this flank has been beaten back. Of course, as I come around, I'm going to try to take some pot shots at the Atago, because, you know, random citadels, though the Atago is more heavily armored than, say, the New Orleans, or like the Pensacola. The unfortunate thing is that guy can still heal, so even though he's out of the game for a little bit, he could still come back, and that 3,000 is not that bad. You can see now that because we've capped the center and second ring of the epicenter, we are actually almost 150 points ahead, even though we've lost the same number of ships. And the Atago takes some shots at me, and it was not very useful. Take some shots at him, and not very useful either. So, now that the Atago is out of the game for the next couple minutes, we are going to look at the New Mexico. He's given an okay broadside, so we'll leave him. And I actually thought, as I'm following these shells in, that it looked like he was turning in on my shots were going to miss, but we get a random citadel, and he's at 172. I call target, but again, it looks like nobody can finish him off. And he goes behind the island before I can take another shot, so he's still there. So we're going to look at someone else now, like this Nuremberg. The Nuremberg is definitely a ship that's so thinly armored that you can get citadels from pretty much all angles. As you can see, Trident is a fairly small map. We were pretty far out of position, and now, after not too much sailing, even with our top speed of 22 knots or whatever, we're back in a central location, which is where you want to be. That's the New Mexico down there, who we were working on earlier. He's at 3,700, but I want to look at the Nuremberg because he is a better target for sure. Take 2 shots, but he's taken out, so we're going to turn our attention back to the New Mexico. And it looks like he's already burning down. But if you look at the numbers, he's at 81, and I think he puts out the fire at 81. And we get the kill.
Enemy battleships suck.
So, coming up, this is a little bit of a sloppy play. I'm going to try to engage... Well, first we're going to engage the Otago over there. You'll notice that he was down to something like 2,000, and he healed up to 12,000. And so this is... On one hand, you really should not chase people who are running off into the corner. And we got the kill on that guy. But at the same time, especially when the ships have heal, you really want to try to finish them off. So it's a bit of a... It's a fine line to balance, which is somewhat annoying. So this is a little bit shady here. I want to engage the Scharnhorst, but the Colorado versus Scharnhorst is not really a good engagement. I've had a lot of games where I'm up against the Scharnhorst and it turns into a one-on-one, and there's absolutely no way I can disengage from him or citadel him. And so it's an uphill fight if you try to brawl with these guys, but it's kind of my nature to brawl on the battleship, so just kind of wait, see if he'll open up, take a shot. And we did nothing, which is very unfortunate. That's one of the strengths of the Scharnhorst. Scharnhorst takes a torp, throws some more shells at him, and we get an overpen. Great. I think I probably needed to aim just slightly lower, but at the same time you don't want to hit the waterline because you can't actually get a citadel. Try and angle against him. Well, that was a pretty good shot. The good thing about the Scharnhorst compared to the Gneisenau, though, is that you can angle against the Scharnhorst pretty well because the caliber of the guns is pretty low. Trying to aim at superstructure because at this angle you're never going to get any pens into the hull. Incapacitated turret. And 2,000! So now he's close enough that our secondary is opening up. I was pretty confident that we could get the kill, but we don't even need to. Which is why I stayed in the area. And now we pretty much win the game. Our team did a good job staying in the epicenter. Even though the ship difference is only 2, we're up by 600 points. There is almost no way that they could come back from this, and I'm only 1 kill from that Kraken. For most of the game, I've been just around in this DE 4-5 space, except for that brief escapade over into the east. And I think that's a good place to be. That big island, EF 4-5 that I mentioned earlier, is really good cover for just about anything. And from both sides, too. And so here comes the enemy Anshan. It's a bit of a tough shot because he's so fast. But we take him out. There's the Kraken. And it's just one destroyer and the aircraft carrier left. I think the Mayhan is out of my view, but the Lexington is going to be in range soon. And here we're also capturing the final ring of the epicenter. Try to get some cap points. The Lexington looks like he's going for the Scharnhorst, so we are not under fire from anything. In fact, we're not even detected until now. And it was probably by the Mayhan, who was trying to sneak up on somebody. Take some shots at the Lexington, but the game ends before the shots can land. And here are the result screens from this game. I was playing solo because I was trying to finish the Arpeggio challenge before I went on vacation. We got 200,000 credits. We only did 91,000 damage. This was not a very high damage game, but it was, I think, a good example of how to position yourself in the Colorado. We were first on the team with almost 1900 base EXP, but the New Mexico, Scharnhorst, Badioni, they all played very well. All of our damage was in AP, and we only took about 28,000 damage. We only tanked potential 1 million. Those are all pretty normal. And finally, I have this screen that shows my build. It is the same as the one in my last Colorado replay. And with that, have a nice day.